bearish bells are ringing, and the markets could be in a possible little bit of a problem here, but we've seen them before, so we won't get too excited. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bubba's Daily Update, and here we are again. And I'm shooting this a little bit early before the close, so I don't have the exact closing numbers, but as of this taping, which is about 10 minutes before the close, we've got some pretty bearish signs in the market, and they are the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P all made intraday new highs and are all going to close lower as it looks at the moment on the day. Those are known as key reversals. That's pretty bearish. And if you throw in the clobbering of the Russell once again, we could be getting ready or getting closer to a potential market sell-off. Now, this is not official, but one of the things that you'll look at from today is volume was a little bit higher than it has been and volatility was higher. So those are things to think about. Tie in a higher bond price. That is things that we're thinking about. And then last thing to tie in is the weakness in the financials. So we'll see. Now, again, it's not an official score, and it's certainly not an official call to say, hey, it's time to go out and get short. Right now, it's time to sit and kind of observe, but be aware that these things are happening right now as we look. And when you think about it, that's what you're going to look for. It's not the market is not going to announce itself and tell you that it's going to sell off. These are the signs, the things that you look at, and now we would look at it and we'll see where they go from here. And if they continue to be a little bit weaker, we'll start looking for some spots to sell. The rest of the markets, crude oil was virtually non-existent today. Had, I think, about well, if you include the overnight range, maybe a 70-cent range. If you take just the day trading hours, probably a 40-cent range. Not a lot going on there. The meats were all a little bit lower. Grains were kind of mixed. But again, the same pattern exists. Nobody really cares. There's not a lot of activity in these markets to get too excited about. Gold was under a little bit of pressure, finished down about $5-6. The dollar was a little bit stronger, but again, failed at that 95 level. But we'll see how that trades out. I think the next time we get through, we'll break it out. The tax plan is a disaster, and we're starting to see a lot of troubles between what's going on there. And I think I said this yesterday, but if I didn't, it's a repeat or it's a new one. But what I don't understand is where's the fair and equal treatment for small and big business? Big business is going to pay 20% maybe, and small business is going to pay 25%. I think that kind of stinks. I don't like that, and I think that's of many of the parts of this tax plan that irritate me. That probably would be the biggest, because without small business, we go nowhere. Without small business, without middle class, you go nowhere, because they are the drivers. They do create the velocity of money. But overall, we've got just a lot of, I guess you'd say just a whole bunch of nothing going on. There's a couple of elections going on, New Jersey and Virginia, that may or may not mean anything overall going forward. But if you look at it just from the simple point that it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, if you're left or right, they both stink. Right? That's the real bottom line, is both stink. It's not a question of which one. The only one that, in my opinion, that doesn't stink is the president, because he's really more of a center kind of person, and he's trying to get something done. But of course, the swamp creatures will not allow him to get anything done, and that's just the way life goes. That is the problem. When you take somebody in and you give them unlimited terms to be there, they come in broke, they leave a billionaire. It's something logical doesn't fit there, right? But there's not a lot to really get afraid about or a lot to get overly excited about. The markets just continue to vacillate in nowheresville. There's not a lot of excitement. There's not a lot of reason to get either excited or afraid, which is why we should continue to see this type of action, which is more or less a market that will drift without any real purpose. The overall view is, I think that oil should start to break, but again, it's very scary up here as it pushed its way higher, but it failed to follow through. Now, either it'll follow through tomorrow or it's done. Gold continues to churn in that range. Bonds better start to sell out pretty soon, or that's going to mean lower interest rates, which means that, of course, that we're going to see a lot of problems in the overall economy, because what they call the yield curve continues to flatten and it's threatening to invert, which means that short-term money is going to be more expensive than long-term money. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but of course, the Fed and the government make no sense to begin with. So there's your answer to why that can happen. But the big story is nothing. That's the big story. We've got a market that is going to sit here and wait and wait and wait. And again, I will say this: the markets are looking for a reason to sell off. But until it comes, they can continue to in this pattern, and it could be a day, a week, a month. It's a very tough time of year to figure that we're going to get a huge sell-off. So we're going to sit and be very observant, because being observant, patience, and cash is a position as well. Remember, help my high school investing program out, highschoolinvesting.com. Check it out for yourself. We're in 300 high schools looking to get to 30,000. And of course, I pay for it all and I need some help. And if you want to help me out, go to Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/Bubba Trading. You can help make a donation. Of course, for those who make there's certain levels in there. And if you make the right donation, we're going to help you and do a webinar for you, and also send you an autographed copy of my brand new book. In the meantime, don't forget to catch the Bubba Show every single day, 2 to 3 Eastern Time. That's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And sorry I missed on Green Bay last night. Have a great day, everybody. See you back tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. See you later.